And when I hit about 1,000 subscribers, I'm gonna make a little contest of my own, some sweet prizes. That'd be awesome as well.
Thanks for having me, Jake.
I'm going to be leaving.
Welcome everybody, my name is Clinton Jones and I am back because we got something special for y'all. This month I am challenging you to push the limit of our creativity. It's time for another
3D Community Challenge.
How in the world did you come up with this beautiful idea to run these challenges?
This is me at Corridor thinking, I gotta get my channel back up and going. I don't feel comfortable putting my art in front of all this other art.
When did you choose the name Pwnisher?
I can't just be making videos for VFX sake. I have to make something with a story. I realized I had no input, it was only output. I had no inspiration, and that's where the filmmaking took off for me, as the fun passion. If you already got the job before you graduate, then go.
Where did this angel come from?
It was a brick room with no windows and no door. I was just in this room for a year. Oh, I gotta pay the bills, what am I gonna do? There's dips and valleys, and I wasn't prepared for that. I was like, dude, how are you doing all these effects? And he sent me a copy of...
Clinton, welcome to the Bad Decisions podcast.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. We're so honored to have you here. I mean, first things first, I gotta say, Faraz, high five. This is another name off the list. You know, when we started the podcast 38 episodes ago, we wrote on this board 3 or 4 names that we wanted to have on.
A wish list at the beginning of our podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
And your name was all the way up there. And it was beside Blender Guru and Ian Hubert. We had Blender Guru on last week or 2 weeks ago. And now it's you, so we just gotta say thank you so much for giving us your time. This was planned out since the very first episode.
That's an honor, guys. I appreciate that. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, man, we can't wait to get into it. But before we get right into it, I gotta give a little bit of an intro to everybody who just joined us. The audience listening and watching on different platforms. First of all, I gotta say that you're an icon. And you're truly an inspiration, not just for us, but for a lot of the artists in the world. And the reason why I say that, and I believe a lot of the artists already know that, but for anybody that doesn't know, you have created arguably one of the most incredible compilation of art in the world on the internet today. And for anybody that doesn't know exactly what I'm talking about all the beautiful 3D community challenges and the render challenges that you've done. And I'm talking about 7 of them. And for anybody, I'm going to go ahead and read you some stats. Clinton, you don't mind me reading some stats for everybody right now?
Go for it. Yeah, do it.
Okay. We'll start with the first one. Parallel dimensions, 125 people. Alternate realities, 2,400. Dynamic machines, 1,900. Infinite journeys, 2,248. With 19 years worth of work, according to the video itself. We have moving meditation, 3,600 people who joined from all around the world, 24 years of collective work, endless engines, 4,280 artists from around the world. That is 30 years of collective work. And last but not least, our favorite, the boss fight, 2,880 artists joined, 22 years of collective work. How in the world did you come up with this beautiful idea to run these challenges?
Oh man, dude, it was a journey for sure. Okay, where do we start? It's I gotta figure out where in the journey. So
The first one that only had 125 artists that you started with.
Yeah. So basically, this was when I was still working at Corridor Digital, and I remember. I started my YouTube channel back in 2006. And this was when YouTube almost start. I think YouTube started in 2005 or something. I don't know. So it was a long time. A long time the channel's been going for. And it's gone through a bunch of different not a bunch of different iterations, but it's grown with me, right? So and changed with my interests and my hobbies and whatnot. Right now, this is talking 3 years ago when we did the first one. And I'm assuming it was 3, maybe it was 4, I don't know. The first challenge, right? So at the time I was working at Corridor, and I was I have felt the pressure or just the calling to reboot my channel because it was I had to dust this thing off, man. I hadn't touched the channel in 6 years, And I was always afraid to because people were like, "Where'd you go? Where'd you go?" And I got in the habit of like making these short films, and I got in the habit of making everything better than the last thing that I made, to the point where like I maxed it out too much, and the barrier to entry was too high. So I kind of like stopped making short films, and that was really tough. And that 6-year gap. Anyway, there's so much to get into. Basically,
by the way, don't worry. We're gonna break it all down. It's just we understand this journey was so long. It's hard to sort of pin down the moment it all started. But you can just go anywhere. We'll go all the way back eventually. Don't worry.
So, this is me at Corridor thinking I gotta get my channel back up and going. I remember when I got like $300 from Machinima. I was signed with Machinima, and they would like it wasn't Google or YouTube AdSense. It was Machinima, and they would send me like, you know, ad revenue checks every month or something, and it was like $300 a month. And that was after I had like, you know, been taking time off, and it was just sitting there, $300 a month, like sweet, okay, that's awesome. But then those checks weren't coming in. I was like, I should probably like do something about that and get that like hooked back up again, because like it's not a lot, but it's like definitely helpful to have, you know. So I was like, how do I hook this up again? So I like dug in, and I started doing live streams on Saturdays of the 3D process, and this was like Saturday morning cartoons, but it's like Saturday morning 3D, right? And I'm in Cinema 4D, and I'm creating some like Studio Ghibli scene in photoreal style in Cinema 4D, and I'm streaming for a couple hours, and people are there with me, and we're having a good time. And I'm like, the only way to make this is with consistency. Like the only way to be successful is to do it consistently, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna come back next Saturday, and the next Saturday, and the next Saturday. So every Saturday for almost a year, I live stream 3D CG something, right? And pretty quickly, it turned into me just like I had to do something, right? Yeah. So I had to make some sort of art. And I was a fan of Inktober, if you guys remember or know of Inktober. Yes. It's still going on. It's still very popular. And it's the month of October. You do a drawing every day via a prompt that they give out on their Instagram or their website, whatever. And I was like, well, let's try that with 3D. So I basically did the weekly challenge, because every day, like, unless you're Beeple, or I know there's a lot of people doing that those daily renders. I'm like, nah, let's do the week. Let's take time on it. And I started a Discord server for all of my YouTube, you know, people watching on my YouTube channel, to kind of host the weekly challenges, right? And we would just do random ones. I think the first one was like plant or something, and the second one is book, whatever. And it got to the point where like every Saturday morning people would join me, and we'd create the weekly challenge art together. And I was like, okay, this is fun. People are enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. Can we take it to the next level? So this was basically a couple months into me rebooting the channel. And I'm like, I would love to involve the community in a bigger way and bring them together. I'm a filmmaker at heart. And the dream is to make a movie, right? So I'm like, how can we do some cinematic thing and like make it really fun and involve maybe a musician friend? I have a few musician friends who I'd love to work with, and so I'm like, how can I bring it all together? So that's kind of where the community challenge side of things came from. And we kicked off the first one. NVIDIA was actually there to help give away like a graphics card and like an SSD or something for second, third place. So that was nice. People didn't really know about the challenge, so we had 125 entries, and the top 100 was honestly just everything. It was the top 125. And
I really pity that 25.
But that must have been so easy to choose in terms of competing against the latest ones. Where you had 4,280 entries. I mean, fuck.
Yeah,
that's hard.
Yeah, you know. But honestly, it wouldn't be possible without a couple things. So first off, the artists, getting excited about this and doing it and sticking to it. Really, it wouldn't be possible without the artists, obviously, right? Because then you wouldn't have any art. I'm just curating it. I'm just like hosting it and curating it, right? So, and then I have, at this time, the Discord channel grew. I had some moderators, or they weren't moderators at the time. They were just artists, one of which won the first monthly like community challenge.
Wow.
and his name is Liam. He goes by Visual online, and he came in as a moderator. A couple other guys, Sotomonte, came in as a moderator, and a handful of others, right? And they were essentially like my bouncing board for what's the next challenge going to be. So we would brainstorm together. We would build out the template files together. We would write the rules together, and I would go out and I would find prizes from companies that I use and love. So like I have a Wacom tablet right here. Okay, hey Wacom, are you down? A mechanical keyboard. We're trying. Fingers crossed. We're trying to get some mechanical keyboards for February. But like, I wanted it to be genuine, and I wanted like the prizes and stuff to be useful to the artists. And then the montages kind of just they get in front of people's eyes and they see them. They're like, oh, I want to do it, next time around. So we do them twice a year. So that's kind of like the whole story behind those.
Wow. Were you expecting it to be this huge by the second?
No way.
No way, right?
Yeah, no way.
I mean, it started with a
fun.
book, like you said, you guys were doing books every week or something like that.
Yeah, we'll do a plant, we'll do a book, we'll do whatever. And they're just images, right? But it'd be cool to do a video because at the end of the day, again, I do want to make a movie, right? So I'm thinking in those terms, and it's just fun. Yeah, it's fun. I love a challenge. That's the thing is like, no matter what, if it's a physical challenge, mental challenge, creative challenge, like, I don't know why, it just gets me so amped. And maybe it's because I grew up on, playing video games and doing martial arts. So that's like, I don't know, maybe that's where the love for challenges comes in, but...
What it takes to create a challenge with this scale. You talked about finding sponsors at one point, talking to moderators to come up with the templates. But then when everybody submits, how do you go through all of them? How do you choose the winner? Especially now that you have 3,000 to 4,000 participants, what does the process like? Because there is a pre, and then I assume there is a post process also after everybody submits.
Yes. So we figured out... like each challenge that we do, we learn more and more, right? And we find easier ways for it all to be filtered through, because at one point, I remember which challenge was it? It might have been Dynamic Machines. One of the challenges, man. I hand typed every name of the all renders, all 4,000 names.
What? I thought you used the script.
Yeah, because the script was like broken or something. Like something happened. Yeah, and it was like all these names from like India, and I was like, don't mess these names up. Dude, it wasn't like Joseph, and I was just like, from memory, I know how to spell Joseph. It was like, names that I never use or say, so I had to like check letter by letter, make sure. It was like, and then I was like, no last name, just one letter in a period.
Dude, you know that meme where it's saying they tell you to go become something, a YouTuber, and then it shows the reality. You're like a creative 3D artist typing out 4,000 names.
My day job. How did you spend 90% of your time typing names?
Yeah, so very quickly, one of the moderators on our Discord server, he goes by Saipo, is his name, and he created this like awesome script that basically it's two-sided, right? So what happens is like we have everybody submit through Google form, right? And they have to like check all these boxes that says one submission under 100 megabytes, and then they upload it. And then from there, Saipo wrote this script that changes the name of their file into this very specific like format with very specific information. And that will essentially so the name change, we'll save that for later, right? That comes in handy later. I take all the submissions, lay them out in DaVinci, and with me and my moderators, we go through, and we they're all on track 4,000 renders, 4 hours long, whatever. This is after I've filtered everything by the rules. If it's the frame rate's wrong, if the frame like duration is wrong, those go into the pit of despair folder, which we call. And maybe those will see the light of day. Maybe I try and include as many as possible because it just makes it all better at the end of the day. But right, all the ones that follow the rules, they get lined up, and we go through render by render, and we essentially, if it looks good, if it piques our interest, and our eye says, "Ooh, this is nice," we'll play it back again, and we'll be like, "Are we tricked? Are we full? Is this actually not, or like is this one that needs to go up? And if it is, we'll raise it up to the second track, and we'll go through and we'll do that over like 2 or 3 days, and then like 3 or 4 sessions basically, and we'll try to aim to pull the top 125, and that way we will just have to get rid of 25 as opposed to like go back through everything and find another 20 if we just pulled 80, right? So we try and pull just a little bit more, and then we scrunch it down, all the mods together, we scrunch it down to top 100, and then we pull like top 15 together. Right. And there's like obvious ones that are like, this is obviously top 10, top 5.
Yeah.
And we pull the like top 15, and then from there I take that 15 and we go to the judges, the guest judges. So like Ian Hubert, Captain Dissolution, Ren from Corridor, Peter from Corridor, William Fauché, if you guys are an Unreal fan. Who else have we had? Shoot, man, I lose track. Freddie Wong came on for one. So I try and be as I don't want the responsibility of choosing the top 5 on my own.
Dude, you do all the work. You should take some credit for choosing the art. Come on.
No. I get him. I wouldn't want any of that responsibility as well.
No, do people come and tell you that? Why didn't you pick me in the top 100? Of
course.
Like, do you get that? Do you get that a lot?
But I have to ignore all that because we do our best. We do our best all the way through, and like people are gonna be upset about whatever result, right? So, like we had a guy win for twice in a row. He won both challenges this year.
What?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
the boss fight and Endless Engines, or was it those two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Dude,
he's a
winning
he's a
two?
champ.
Double champ. You got 2 belts
like-
now.
Yeah, we had this last the boss fight one. It was myself and Raf Grassetti. So we just picked. I didn't tell him that he won. He was anonymous, unbiased. I mean, I knew obviously, but I thought it was first place. Like I'm not gonna back down just because he got it first place last time. If you got first place, you earned it. So, So yeah, people were like, "What? How could this one not be in and that one?" It's like, no. I get stressed out about it. It really is like, I'm sensitive from that side of things. So like, I try and stay away from my computer for a week after the challenges.
You should disable the comments.
No,
I'm just joking. You shouldn't do that. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's crazy because these challenges, as I said earlier, not only are they a masterpiece, when you put all those renders together for people to view, and that's why they have millions of views, every single one of them, because people just like to watch them, right? You're seeing human creativity switch every few seconds, and you're seeing completely different scenes. Me and Farah were discussing this. Every single time we look at it, one, we're amazed, of course, and we love what we see, but at the same time, we're like, how the fuck are people making these? Like, they look so good. These are
so different. How can human brains think in so many different ways?
Yeah, and there's so many different possibilities for the same template that you provided them. I mean, when you see these, what do you think? Because you're an experienced artist yourself. I mean, you can do really great work, but then sometimes you're looking at people who are younger than us, and then they're just going at it. They're creating scenes that are absolutely stunning, and they're doing it like in 2 weeks sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, in the beginning, in the first 2 challenges, I made art that I was very proud of, and I felt very confident to put it in the front as like an intro title sequence to the rest of them, right? Mm-hmm. But since the third one, dude, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable putting my art in front of all this other art.
It's a humbling challenge, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like, they are young kids and they're using Blender and Unreal or whatever. And some are in school using Maya maybe or C4D, whatever. But a lot of them are just using Blender, which, if you're watching or listening to this podcast, obviously you probably know what Blender is. You know that it's free.
Yeah.
You had Blender Guru on the donut tutorial, of course. Which, if you guys don't know and you want to learn Blender, go watch the donut tutorial series. But yeah, it's crazy because like what I think when I see all this great art and it's coming from people from all around the world and they're younger than all of us, I'm like, this is the future of of art
Yes.
and of
And,
creativity
Funny story. So I joined one of them, and
cool.
I joined I joined in alternate realities.
During COVID, right?
Yeah, during COVID, mine was a COVID related artwork, and I didn't make it to the top 100. I was one of those guys who commented, "Why didn't you choose me?" So if you, no, I'm just messing with you. I did join, but I didn't comment that down. That was very early for me, so I didn't expect to be in the top 100.
But you really loved the challenge, because I remember when you did the challenge, you told me it pushed you so much.
Yes.
That was just the early stage that you were using Cinema 4D,
early
right?
stages of Cinema 4D. And the thing is, I'm like, okay, I got this timeline, this deadline that I have to meet, and there's so many other great artists joining. I have to make sure I'm gonna be the best. And so you have all these things that you have to learn in 2-3 weeks. It's the best way to push yourself. So I'm actually going
It's true.
and telling everybody right now who has never participated in these challenges, the next one that comes up,
It's February, right?
join
February.
it. Yes.
Yeah, February.
And we're going to quickly talk about that in a second. I just want to tell everybody, join it. If you want to improve as an artist, this is the absolute best way to do it, because you're having Clint here holding you accountable, right? Because you have to submit within a deadline, and it's just going to be amazing when you see your render pop up beside everybody else's, and then you see what you've done right, what you've gotten wrong, and you improve. I just love that aspect of it. So let's talk about the next one, February.
Yeah.
Do we know what that's about? Have you already figured it out?
No, we don't know what it is yet. We do know a couple things. Like, every past challenge informs us a little bit more about what the next one will be. And one thing we learned with Boss Fight is, and let me see if I can remember this, because we talked about this a few weeks ago. I've been traveling the last couple weeks. So let's see.
Where did you go?
Basically, say again?
Where did you go traveling?
We went to New York, Manhattan.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, I did see your story. I saw your story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you were having
Yes.
pizza or something, right? Was
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right in New York. Yeah.
So good. But basically what we learned is that it's really difficult for people to animate. Like, animation is the hardest thing. And if you animate poorly, if you don't animate perfectly, it looks janky. It has to be so well done, and like,
Yes.
just a touch of bad animation will be like, you had everything, but the animation's so janky, and it kind of like, I wish the animation was there. So in the past, we've provided the character,
Yes.
the animated character, right?
Yes.
And I think that takes the mocap. That takes a huge load off of people. When they have to animate their own characters, that's like, whoa, man. Whoa, buddy, slow down. This is going to take a long time. And you're asking me to not only animate a hero, but you're asking me to animate a boss as well. 2 characters now. So I think that's why it's harder for people to enter that one. It was a higher barrier to entry. So this next one, we're like, okay, let's
Opening
go back
it up?
to... Well, almost like making it more specific. Going back to the animated character, like providing the animation, so they don't have to worry about the animation. The animation is already done; it looks good. We already take care of that in the beginning, and then it's just about them to put. I always equate it to like a coloring book. I remember when I was a kid, and there was this Jackie Chan coloring book challenge, and like on Jackie Chan's website, they gave you a page of this coloring book from the movie. He was doing this like promotion for a movie. And it was like old, ancient, like Chinese, like warrior battle kind of film. And it was like him on the horse with like the staff and the armor. And everyone got the same coloring book page. And everyone was going to color it differently, of course, right? And then you submit it, and then you see all the coloring book pages. And I'm like, it's just like that. Everyone gets the same template, but it's colored differently, right? So I think the closer we can get them to that final via, an animated character, the more people, the lower the barrier to entry, the more people will join, and the more fun it will be, because then you just got to worry about the colors and the sparkly stuff and like, your atmosphere and all this versus, I have to like smooth out all these keyframes and like redo all this. Of course there will be that, but so that's one thing that we're going to try and do this one for February is make it a little bit easier barrier to entry for people. And that's just one example. So, Yeah, I don't know. We always try to mix it up.
No, definitely recommending it to everybody to join the challenge.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a good idea. I agree with you. I believe when you provide the mocap, it just takes the toll off people, and they get to, within that time frame, work more creatively within the environment itself, and also the character itself, the character creation. I do believe that eventually it'll be easier, of course, with tools like Move AI and Rococo Vision, I believe it's called. People will be able to start their own mocap and do their own. But I believe that it will definitely be a reason why a lot of people might not be able to join. So I think that's a great idea. Can't wait for it, honestly. I don't know. It's gonna be awesome.
Can you tell me like your full name? I'm gonna look it up.
Oh my god! No, you're not doing that. Okay, all right.
What is it?
Submitted by your name, right? Faraz.
Faraz
Faraz.
Faraz. Oh my god, we're doing this on the podcast. Oh god.
Oh, here it
Are we
is.
gonna have a live judging session?
Do you have? Wait a minute!
Like,
how
you're the-
fast
what do
you
you-
could pull it off? You have a directory
you
of
did a
all the
Corona-
participants. Yeah,
It's like the guy in the yellow with the bag.
Yeah, I think that's like a Miximo character or something, or I got the character from somewhere. I didn't even know how to make characters at the time.
That's great. No, it's really good. Yeah, it's really good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's fun.
Do I get the prize?
Do I get a live judgment or something right now? I would love to be judged right now. Let's go.
All right, let's see. The yellow's looking good on the character. You got the red for the spherical piece in the back. You got your fog looking really nice from the
Thank
lamps
you.
shining down.
Thank you.
The tree could use some wind, I'd say. The tree could use a little bit of
I
wind.
agree. I had no freaking clue how to do that back then. You know what I spend the most amount of time on? That rope. That rope carrying the dead body at the back. Because
hard.
I had no idea how to do that. And then I remember I rendered literally the night before the submission. I was rendering all of this out. And then it was rendering. I was like, okay, everything looks perfect. In the morning, a couple of hours before, I'm checking the render, and halfway through, the rope comes off, and it's just carrying nothing. I'm like, I can't submit that. So I'm just like, okay, render again, and I managed to make it work and submit it. So that is the output. Yes.
That's great, man. That's so cool. Wow, I love that. I love to see that, man. That's fun. You gotta show it. Show it in the video version of the.
Yeah,
100%.
We're gonna overlay it definitely.
Yes. I have one last question I want to ask before we move on and talk about you in general. Between all the winners that you've interviewed from all of these competitions that you've had, what common characteristic and behavior have you found amongst all of them that made them winners?
They all like work to their strengths. And a lot of people, including myself, try to push too hard and go into the realm of like, I want to learn this aspect of 3D, something I don't know anything about, so let's experiment with it. And that happened to me on the last one. I went too far into a territory that I didn't know. And under pressure of a 30-day situation, which is never 30 days, it's always like maybe you have 12 working days or something.
Yes.
I don't know. Pressure and experimentation don't really go well together. Yeah, it's hard. So like if the pressure is on, stick to what you're good at. Stick to what you're really good at. And then maybe save like 15% for the exploring part. That'll actually make the process a lot more, you'll be a lot more confident along the way. So like, I don't know, when I do the interviews, because at the end of every challenge, I do like a 30-minute interview with each winner in a live stream. And it's a couple hours long, right? And man, I'm just blown away at their process every time. They usually always start with reference. They have a big reference board, a mood board of some sort, and they very quickly try to get to like a version. Well, actually, that's not even true. Some of them focus on the animation first and the character.
Right.
Some people focus on the background first. But everyone's very smart in their approach. They're very aware of the time they have. So they usually would ask themselves, like, what's the most important thing to accomplish in this render? So do that first. Get that done first. So like for boss fight, I saw a lot of the people like working on the characters first. and then getting the characters in place, and then they build the environment around them. Me, I love environments so much, so I'm like, let me focus on the environments first. And then when I realized, oh no, I don't have characters yet, I'm running out of time, and I'm trying to like hand animate stuff in 2D, I'm like, this is too much. So kind of screwed myself on that side. But anything else, I think they know. Oh, here's another thing. They always have a person or group of people to share their art with and then ask for feedback. Right. So that's like huge. Yeah, being able to take a step back and show it to somebody, and usually, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's someone that like whose opinion you respect and
who has a taste,
who you trust. Yeah. Who maybe is an artist themselves and is working, in 3D or something, or even show it to your parents, whatever. Ask them, hey, is this story come across? And if they don't know, then maybe ask someone else. And then if they don't know, then the story's probably not coming across. So asking for feedback is really good, and taking a step back. They all do that. They all ask for feedback and take time to step away and then come back with as fresh eyes as they can in that crunchy amount of time that they're working in.
No, dude, I love that. I really want to clip this part, send it to every contestant for the next challenge.
Yeah,
as a cheat sheet.
Yeah, focus on what you're good at first, right?
Yes.
And because the time limit is an issue, and I
can
agree.
use that for our cinematic that we are making now. You're stuck. So we've been stuck for 2 days on a cinematic that we are making. We are remaking one of the Star Wars scene. I think we can do that.
We can definitely use that tip. Yeah, focus on what we're good at first. Farah, you wanna take it back?
Yes. So I think we talked about the challenge, which was, our favorite part about your YouTube channel. We watched all of the videos when the challenges came out, but then when we were doing research for this podcast, we realized that we were hooked again on the renders, especially the top 100. And then at one point, I told Faraz, I think
we're out of time.
We're rewatching
almost everything.
One again, but they are full of inspiration. And I think if you're looking for a scene, looking for a shot, looking for creativity, you can go back.
You should look at references within those renders. That's actually one of the best places to find references.
Because there are different categories. Like in some of them, I think you even time coded, like Star Wars, COVID. Like you can see different pieces. But now we want to take it back all the way to where you began, and we want to know, when was the first time that you got hooked into VFX and you got interested in it?
Yeah. Okay. So this would be like 2005, maybe. And I remember my friend coming over with a video camera. And it was like a mini DV tape camera. And I just asked him, I was like, how the heck do they make cuts in movies? Like, how do they go from one image to another? I don't understand that. And he was like, look, let me show you. And he like filmed me, he hit record and then he hit stop, and then he like turned it over here and he hit record and then he hit stop, and then he played it back and it did a cut from me to the other thing. And I was like, what?
Magic.
God.
So then I was like, yo, film me kicking you and then cut to the low angle and you jump over the kick. And then we like played it back, and I was like, "Oh, that's so crazy!" And from there, I just started making all these stupid short films, like Tom and Jerry or Spy versus Spy, like stupid, people trying to get at each other. I love physical comedy, so I grew up on Jackie Chan and Stephen Chow and Bruce Lee movies, right? So like, I'm just obsessed with physical comedy, and I was doing martial arts at the time as a kid, so everything was just like, some fight scene or some silly physical comedy thing. And then it got to the point where I was like, I had these little stupid short films I was posting on MySpace. And,
wait, where?
MySpace.
Where's that place again?
I tried to find it. That it's like, I think the page still exists, but the videos aren't there anymore. Which is sad.
Dude,
I know.
You don't have any record of it?
Any VHS of those films?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know.
Those
I would pay good money. I would pay good money to see them.
It's like I think the video's still there, but it won't play or something like that. But yeah, I got like super into that, and then I'm a gamer too, so I was making Grand Theft Auto stunt videos and just editing them together to music, and like I had my PSP all modded out, so I had like all the GTA like hacks and whatever, and so that was super fun. And then I discovered in my 10th grade, I discovered videocopilot.net, Andrew Kramer,
Yes.
and I was like, oh my god, this is the best VFX I've ever seen. I need this in my life, because I had all these airsoft guns, because as a kid I'm like playing airsoft, right? I wanted to be in the army so bad. I was like running around my neighborhood with like wooden poles as bazookas, hiding from cars in the bushes, and like patrolling the front gate, just being like, all right, we're good. The neighborhood is safe. I can go home now.
The superhero of the town.
Dude, I can imagine like the elderly just looking at the kids like, what the fuck is this guy doing here?
Yeah,
And it's
I'm like
walking
full out in camo. I'm like decked out in camo with like all this like belt, tactical, everything. I remember like posting up outside of my house with like a camo net, and we woke up at like 6 just to like watch the neighborhood. And we're like, the neighborhood watch is this little kid and his friends in these little army clothes. So I was obsessed with all that too, right? So I'm like, I see Video Copilot and I see all these like, 3D or not 3D, but like 2D composited explosions, like blood hits and muzzle flashes. And I'm like, I have all these airsoft guns. Let's try and do
put
that.
it to good use, yeah.
Yeah. And actually at the time I was in Windows Movie Maker, like adding little muzzle flashes on still frames. And then a buddy on YouTube, what's his channel? It's Phil D. Will. Philip David Williams. I was obsessed with his channel. And I was like, dude, how are you doing all these effects? And he sent me a copy of After Effects, like a disc. He was like, here you go. It was like a burnt copy. And I was like, thank you so much. Yeah. He like mailed it to me. I was just this kid and he mailed it to me. Yeah. And I was like, thank you so much. Yeah. And so I got After Effects up and going, and then I discovered Video Copilot in 10th grade. And dude, I followed like every tutorial, made so many videos. And then I started realizing like, look, I can't just be making videos for VFX sake. I have to make something with a story. So that's where all the short films came in, and like budgets, started coming in for, I'm a gamer. So I made all these like game videos, I guess,
Right.
or short films, fan films for these games for their marketing, thing. So we did like Sleeping Dogs, Dead Island, Wolfenstein, Killzone. Man, it was a blast. And we would just like push it harder and harder every time. So yeah, that was the trajectory. And then Cardboard Warfare. So okay. So that's another thing. Cardboard Warfare was like a very early video that I made where essentially all the guns are made of cardboard. We had a cardboard tank. It like drove. It was life size. It drove on the top of a car. And my buddy Tyler just called me one day. He's like, "Hey, you want to build a tank?"
Well,
And I was like, this was I was in high school. I was like 9th grade. I was like, yeah, of course. So it took us a year, and we built a tank out of cardboard. And like,
wow.
after that, I on YouTube I was following Freddie Wong.
Did you say a year?
Yeah, it took a year to build this tank, just as a stupid fun thing. And
Wow.
like, we're just doing it for fun, right?
That's
And,
dedication.
Yeah, I mean, it was never hard because it was just fun, right? And
Yes.
basically, Freddie Wong, if you guys don't know, was like the first guy on YouTube to basically do VFX short films, high quality VFX short films every week with him and Brandon. And they did it for years, and I was such a fan of him. And we were in touch, and I would ask him VFX questions, and I knew Sam and Nico at the time, like way back, like 2008, 2007, I don't know. And like, they would help me there. I was like, how do I do 3D tracking? I don't understand. And they would help me. And Freddie was
You
like,
guys
hey,
were
you
in
built this
different
tank.
cities, right? Or you guys were in the same city? You guys were in different cities at that time.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta.
Okay.
So I was raised in Chino Hills, California. We moved out to Atlanta, and that's where like the filmmaking took off for me, like as the fun passion. And Freddie was in he was in USC out here in LA, and then I think Sam and Nico, they were in Minnesota, and then they had just moved out, I think, to LA while I was still in Atlanta. So we were all fans of each other on YouTube, and we were just helping each other out. And yeah, I just remember Freddie saying, "Hey man, you should make a video with that tank, with that cardboard tank." And I was like, "Oh my god, you're right!" And like make all these guns out of cardboard, and it's like cardboard warfare, perfect. Man, yeah, and like the rest is like, it's crazy because I dropped out of college. I moved out to LA to move in with Freddie, and my room was just like brick. It was a brick room with no windows and no door, and like I was just in this room for a year making videos and goofing off, and like we had a zip line in there in this like warehouse district. They still where San Benito work out of. It's the same.
So you were in college, and then you quit college to pursue your dream in VFX. That's why you moved to LA.
Yeah.
How did you convince your parents?
So
Or did you convince your
Or did you
Or
convince
did
your
you?
parents? Have you called them yet?
Do they know? Do they know?
So we like I said, I was raised in Chino Hills. I was raised in California,
Yes.
right? So Southern California. And so when we moved to Atlanta, I was only there for 5 years, for 10th grade through like 1.5 years of college. And my dad knew that like that was our home, Southern California, right? So I always missed my friends there. And I always had this urge, like I wanted to go back. I miss my friends. But I made some great friends in Atlanta too, right? So it's like my second home. But I was like, Dad, I have this opportunity. Freddie wants me to like move out here. I'm down. That sounds great. I'm in college though. Can I drop out? And he was like, no, you need your degree and then you can do whatever you want. And I was like, well, I'm going to school for digital media arts. It's a tech school. It's a 2-year school. And lucky enough, they have Hope Scholarship. Hope Scholarship in Georgia, they use the lottery money to fund students through a certain amount of college. You know, you get a certain amount of money.
Right.
And if you had a 3.0 grade average or higher. And I'm like, that's so doable. 3.0? Like, okay, let's like try a little bit and like try and get 3.0. And I was never like a straight A student. I definitely B's, some C's in there for sure, you know? And like, but you try and get that 3.0 because it's thousands of dollars. Like, why not try a little bit and get a little bit of money? So it was a tech school, and which is a two-year thing. And I remember telling this to my After Effects teacher, Mr. Mason, at Chattahoochee Tech. And I was like, hey, I had this opportunity to move out. And I told the whole story to him. And he's like, all right, bring your dad in. Let me talk to your dad.
Wow.
And then
legend.
Yeah, dude. This teacher, straight up legend. Yeah, and he was like, all right. Basically, he told this to my dad. He was like, we're all going to school here to get the job. And he's like, if you already got the job before you graduate, then go. Like, go take the job. Do the job. And
where did this angel come from? I mean, as a
I don't know.
teacher, usually they will demotivate you. They're like, no, you got to come and study here. Holy shit, that's really awesome. Kudos to that guy.
And he's like, if it doesn't work out, then just come back. And like, I guess that was all possible, or maybe it wasn't possible to come back. I don't know, but like, it was all my dad needed to hear. And so then I packed all of my crap into my 89 Toyota Camry, and like I was scraping across the US to drive back over to LA, and like had my cat and everything in the car too, and we were just jamming out for 36 hours until we got to LA.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was not a bad decision. It ended up well.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's to me that's crazy, because it must have been a difficult choice for you to make at the time. I mean, I understand you were in love with VFX and you wanted to move to LA, but it's the uncertainty that always brings a lot of stress for a lot of people. Were you actually a lot of under a lot of stress at the time when you were making that decision, or was it 100% I need to do this?
I was just like, this is the only thing I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. This is easy. Let's go. And I wasn't thinking about money. I wasn't thinking about money. And I'm like, it felt like a low stakes thing. and because Freddie was like, you'll just live with me and like I'll charge you super cheap rent, and then I'll pay you to work on VFX like freelance stuff that comes in, so you don't have to worry about that. And then so it was just a no-brainer, you know. It's like I get to do what I love and like work on my short films while doing VFX freelance and like getting cheap rent with people that I look up to so much. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And like the really important thing though is like the community, because if I didn't have Freddie and Brandon and Sam and Nico were there too, and there was like a group of other people in there as well who are all excited and working together. If you didn't have that core group of people supporting each other and like having fun with like we're all like roommates, then it would be sad on your own, you know.
Yes.
So like if you have the physical like connection with someone else that is doing the same thing that you're doing, then that's so huge. And that's like that's a good thing for school, right? Is school can offer that. You can find those people in school. So it's not like I'm saying drop out, but you know, school definitely has the good things too.
Yes, but if you have the opportunity like you did to work with the best guys in the
Fucking
industry,
drop out right now.
Yeah, drop out. that seems
Drive
like
36 hours across US and get there.
So Freddie and Brendan, had they done video game high school at the time, or no? You joined them and you were working with them, and then video game high school.
Yeah, they
happened.
were doing the YouTube channel. There was no VJHS yet. It was just the YouTube channel, Freddie W, and like I think the first video that I helped them out with in LA was the Medal of Honor cat video. And
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that one.
yeah. So if you look up that video and whatever timestamp that is, that was like the era, that was the time. When I first got there.
And how long you were with Freddie and the team when you were in LA? I think you've been working with them for...
Oh man, I mean, in ways I'm still with Freddie.
Oh yeah,
you know, like we still work together on stuff here and there. But basically, I moved out there. I lived there for a year in this janky building. I moved out because there was too many Monster Energy spills, and my cat kept licking up all these Monster Energy spills and these like dried chicken bones. It was a man fest. It was bad. It was bad. There was like the paint was curling up from the Monster, and like I was like, I gotta get out of here before my cat dies. And
For the sake of the
yeah,
cat, let's get out of here.
yeah. But I was there for a year, and then basically, then Freddie started Rocket Jump, which was like the official company.
Yeah.
Come on, W-2, get paid as a full-time employee, benefits, all this and that. They had the what's the word I'm looking for? Opportunity. They had the ability to do that, right? So so he hired me and a whole bunch of other people to come on and work there. So I was there working full-time for 3 years.
Right.
And I guess that's like the last like super official working with Freddie. But like I helped just a little bit with his last movie that he just put out. So like we're hanging out, we're rock climbing together, we're eating pizza together. It's a good time.
Amazing.
No, 100%. And after that, when you basically, I believe, left Rocket Jump, was it a 3 years period? And then what were you doing after that?
I tried to go like solo freelance for a year, and then realized that money isn't coming in, and oh my god, that's really scary, and I'm not equipped for this. And that was right when Corridor was like, hey, we'd love for you to join us. And I was like, yes, let's go. And that was great. Perfect timing, and like great, another group of guys, like amazing, so the timing couldn't have been better. And that was another 3 years with them. So
Did you plant the seed to be hired at Corridor during that time? Or you knew them for such a long time? And
No, yeah, it's just we're all friends. So like we're all just making videos together. And like it's just a group of friends, and Freddie had his company and Sam and Nico had their company, and we're all still friends. So like I just went from like one friend's house to another friend's house.
It's like, yo, what's up?
What's up?
Making videos here now.
Yeah,
I can imagine. And because, you guys have created so many videos together. I mean, honestly, I've lost count. I've just looked at some of them, but a huge library of really cool content over the years. But what's really interesting and what me and Farah would love to discuss with you is the trajectory, right? Because when you work with Freddie and all, and then went out on your own to continue your YouTube journey, and then, like you mentioned just now, it was kind of scary because there was not enough money coming in, and then you went to Corridor at the same time. In Corridor, you were working on really great, videos and a lot of different things at the same time with the guys. In a previous podcast, you mentioned that you enhanced your storytelling when you were working with the guys early on with Freddie, and then your VFX when you were at Corridor.
Yeah.
What I want to ask you is, when you left Corridor to go back to your YouTube channel and do your own thing, because we watched a video a couple of days ago when you were talking with Corridor and talking about the reason why you're leaving. It's really interesting because a lot of people, they have different personalities, right? Some people prefer to work with teams. They prefer to work around a group. You have clearly shown that in the past, working with Corridor and the guys. But you also like to work on your own thing, right? You wanted to follow your own path and see where that leads you. Mm-hmm. What do you think is a differentiating characteristic? Because I know a lot of people have this dilemma in their mind. They don't know if they want to do their own thing or if they want to work with a team. What do you think the reasons are for you to have wanted to join a team before and also work alone?
Well, it's always... Uh-oh. Sorry, I just got a random phone call. I don't know if that came through on your guys' end. But
No. It didn't.
Okay, yeah. So, yes. I, at the very beginning, when my friend showed me how that video camera worked, I was working with my friends. Mm-hmm. And I always loved that idea of working with my friends. And then as it grew and we started doing crazier and crazier short films and hiring pyrotechnicians and stunt coordinators and all this, it's still friends and family too. Like my dad was helping on set too. So like, I just love the idea of working with a team of people who all love each other and love the project that they're working on. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing more satisfying than like being at the end of production, end of shooting, and you're all going out on a victory meal together, and you're like, guys, we did so much, and I can't wait to edit this. Like, so that I just love that, and I want that in my life. So that was the case at Rocket Jump, working with a team. That was the case at Corridor, working with a team.
Yes.
At different levels, right? Sometimes smaller teams, sometimes bigger. And then when it came to me leaving Corridor and like doing my own thing, at first, in my mind it was like doing my own thing meant doing it by myself, because I don't have a team. I have me, and then that's kind of it. Like I know
and
people,
the cat.
but
and the cat
and a cat, yeah. Now there's 2 cats.
So what? There's 2? Well, you got more
2.
help now.
Yeah, exactly. But pretty quickly I realized I missed the team. I'm like, dude, I could be alone and work with headphones and like get sucked into whatever I'm making, but I really missed the team. And I realized that, like you were saying, at Rocket Jump, my story skills got, boosted so much. When I was at Corridor, my VFX skills got boosted so much. And then since being on my own, I feel like my management and time management and like team management skills are being tested every day. So I'm just, the last 3 years I burnt out at the end of every year. And to the point where it's like, I don't enjoy making the stuff I should be enjoying. And it's really sad and it sucked. And like, it took a month for me to reset and then like get amped again for the next year. And then I would burn out again at the end of every year. And like now I don't know if it's, what is it, my 4th year since being gone. I don't know. Time, right? We don't have seasons in LA.
Time flies.
So
I know.
Yeah. This will be the first year that I don't burn out. And that's a freaking huge win for me. And I'm like, how can I keep that like self what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't know, just be healthy. Be kind
Right,
and be healthy
yes.
to myself. Because I'm
Yes.
so hard on myself. So I'm learning how to like be better to myself and give myself the things I need in order to be healthy and like successful, which is a team. So sorry.
No
So
worries.
yeah, basically what I'm trying to do is slowly build a team. And it's been trial and error, right? But it's coming together. Yeah, and it's fun. It's way better with a team when you can share your wins together. It's not just you. So
100%. I think the way you put it and the way you experienced in the different era of your life, different position that you had with different people, it gave you so much experience. Now that you're doing it on your own, I think you get a lot of experience from the past work that you have done, and now you can incorporate it all together. You mentioned that this year was the first year that you didn't go through burnout. Any specific reason? Was it the planning that you did?
Or more
Was it
traveling, maybe?
or the time management that you think helped you a lot? Because a lot of 3D artists that are in our community, they are facing this challenge that they, when they message us, they are all burned out, they are all tired, and they said they shouldn't be sad or they shouldn't be demotivated doing what they love, but it happens to them a lot. So what was your turning point this year?
So my best friend, Adam, we grew up together in Georgia. We made videos. We were in a band together. Like the list goes on, right? And we can always get down to like the deep conversation from the first minute. And he lives in Portland, so I was talking to him about like my burnout, and he was saying about this like the keystone principle. He's like, yeah, for me, it's you're missing one thing, and if you get that thing, then it'll solve everything else. And he mentioned the book. It's not the Rick Rubin one. I get them mixed up. The Artist's Way.
The Artist's Way. Okay.
The Artist's Way. There's like the 30th anniversary edition out now. It's like yellow and red. If you look it up, it's kind of a square looking book. And the idea is it's a 12-week workbook. It's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous, where it's like a 12-step program.
Right.
But it's for either finding your creativity, if you're someone who like thinks you're not creative but you want to find your creativity, or it's for like rediscovering your creativity. And that book basically has you journal every morning. And all these years, like these last couple of years, specifically last year, 22, I realized like I had no input. It was only output. I had no inspiration, no like time to play, nothing to get inspired with. It was just output. And you can't really like create off of working. And that was like that was one thing that Nico said in the video where I was like leaving Corridor. He said each of them had their own piece of advice, and Nico said like take breaks, live life, and because you can't make art from working, that's not inspiring. You make art from like living life and adventuring, right? So kind of the same idea. And this Artist's Way book had you do your morning pages, is what it's called. And I realized that I had no time to think. I had no time to dive into what I love, no time to play. And by journaling 3 pages every morning, I was able to like slow down, think to myself, and really start like tossing around these thoughts on the page and having a conversation with myself via the journaling, right? And it really, the book essentially like helped me reconnect with the things that I love creatively and from a playful standpoint, right? 0 stakes, just for fun. The other thing that the book had you try out was called an artist date, which is once a week you take X amount of hours to just yourself and like your inner artist, like your inner child, right? And go out and play. And for me, that was just make music. And and it's not for a video. It's not for a brand deal, which is also stressful, right? It can be very stressful where you have pressure to you better make this amount of views.
Yes.
Or else you won't, the next client will come along. So when you tie the YouTube and like the success to the art, that's the hardest thing. It's so difficult and so not natural. And I think the best art comes from like being playful and experimental. So the book just helped you open up that avenue to kind of do that, right? So that was the long answer to like what helped me not burn out. And the short answer is I basically just tried to focus on the things I loved doing, whether or not it would make money or serve a brand or a client. And though that is kind of scary, I think here's another thing I learned actually is like whatever you do for any extended amount of time, it'll come back to you. So like I've been doing these challenges and then all of a sudden I have all these companies who want me to be a judge in their challenges. Or I'm making all of these 3D art tutorials and I have these like asset companies who want me to make tutorials with their assets, right? So if you do what you want to be doing, like it'll come back around, right? So at first it might be scary following the passion, doing your thing, you know, making some piece of art that may not be for a video, you're just making the art for fun. And then maybe down the line it is a video and you put it out and then it brings you work. So I'm just learning to kind of stay aligned with what I really love as opposed to letting like a brand deal or something dictate what I should be making to keep the channel running and pay the bills. So it's tough. It's like, I think whether the channel's going well or not, I'll always be stressed.
We feel you.
Dude, that was the best answer.
Ever. I
Best
need to get
answer.
that book, and I will if I find the book, I will put the link in the description because I think it will help a lot of people.
Dude, there's so many things
my
to
God.
unpack there.
Yeah.
Dude, you know, we do a similar routine as to you as well. We have a meditation every morning, 10, 15 minutes long. And the reason why I believe everybody should do some form of meditative experiment every single morning is because if you think about it, your brain never shuts off. During the day, you're getting all these texts, emails, messages. You're on the computer, you're getting all these notifications. When you're sleeping, you have no control over your brain. The only time you can actually have control over your brain is for 10 minutes in the morning, right, or at night, whenever you want, to just really try not to think about anything else but whatever it is you're trying to focus on. If it's yourself, that would be the best, of course, and just see what your mind is telling you. And you open up, right, with your inner child and all that. And I love that. And clearly, it's been helping you out. We know that it's been helping us. And,
another important point I think you mentioned was knowing that you don't have any input and it's mostly outputs. I think there was a time, I think 3 months ago, that Faraz sat me down and he said, look, we are making too many videos. We are not consuming any social media. We are not watching anything. Where do we get the creativity from? And that was the time we watched the Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, we watched anime.
Like we just binge watched the whole thing, and it was an
cool.
amazing. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I think it's very important to balance that input and output at the same time, because especially now with short form content, you can have many outputs throughout the day, just having one phone and camera and just keep creating, but you don't have an actual input to feed your soul or brain.
But it's still so difficult to nail the balance between the input and output. So you're not using this as an excuse to go and just consume content and never actually make anything. So finding that right balance in the middle, I genuinely believe, although you may be stressed and you say that, watching from the outside, I can guarantee you look like you're a pro at it. Because, from the stuff that you're producing, no, seriously, I can guarantee you can ask anybody in the comments. Because you're producing content that you love and it shows, it clearly shows. And again, going back to the very beginning of the podcast, you created something that no one has ever done before. That competition alone is something that a lot of people cannot do, right? I know you say you're just hosting it, but come on, writing 4,000 names because the code got messed up. Nobody else can do that. I want to talk about one more thing because your advice was so nice, especially with Farad's question. When you left Corridor, or maybe even after Rocket Jump, those periods where you were on your own, right? You were creating for yourself. When, of course, you leave a company, you don't have the same financial stability, right? You have to take care of your own finances, and that's always in the back of your mind. We know that because we've done that. Yeah. How did you deal with that voice? Knowing that you've got a limited time, and you still have to be creative. You have to still produce art that you love, but you still have to make money. How do you deal with that stress? How do you deal with the finances being limited? Because I know a lot of people are scared of that move. specifically?
Yeah. So I've always loved self-help books, and there's some like on finance stuff that that's really great. I think the first book on like finance, it wasn't even like for finances. It was more just like how to, I think it's called 7 Steps for Wealth and Happiness by some old white guy. I forget. And like, it was so good. It was like a small little book, and it blew my mind. It opened me up, and I'm like, oh, I'm leveling up. And I think the voice in your head of like the stressful thing, like, oh, I got to pay the bills. Like, what am I going to do if I leave a job? I won't be making as much money. So that voice will always be there unless you do, like, that's a warning for me. That's like an alarm that says like, do something about it. So for me, I had the first time like when Rocket Jump ended, it was sudden, and it was like, now you're on your own. And I'm like, okay, I could fill my time with creativity and like try and do this. But it didn't work out because I wasn't prepared for it. And I was scared when I saw the dip in income in like March, February, beginning of the year. And I didn't know at the time. I was like, income should just be a straight line up always. And that's so not realistic, right? Every year dips, and there's peaks and valleys of every year.
Yes.
Whether it's your progress or your finances, whatever, like there's dips and valleys, and I wasn't prepared for that. So when I took the job at Corridor, right, fast forward 3 years later, and I had this feeling that I would like to go off on my own again and really do it right, I had some insight like, okay, there will be moments of the year that don't bring in as much money as other parts of the year. So that's helpful to know before I do it. Second, I had a year to build something, which was rebuilding my channel and get it to a point where it was bringing in a little bit of money, where it was like sustaining and slowly growing.
Yes.
I think like the first brand deal was Skillshare, and we did X amount of brand deals or something, right? And they're like very, 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 very like low paying brand deals, but it was something. It was better than $0, right? So I just took like whichever one, you pay a little bit more. Okay, ask for a little bit more because we've been doing these together, right? And I'm just trying to grow, and so I kind of proved to myself in that year that it's possible to grow while I was still at Corridor. So the stakes are low, right? Very low stakes. And then on top of that is savings. So having 6 months of savings, that if I were to leave Corridor, leave your job, and go off on your own, you jump off the cliff and you flapping your wings, right? And if you flapped for 6 months straight and made no money, then you had the 6 months backup. You could survive for 6 months of backup. And that lowered the stakes a little bit more too. So I think those things really helped prepare me for that, jump to leave. And yeah, trying to maintain all those things, keep maintaining and keep growing, keep building. And then the last thing is like, know what's coming in monetarily and know what's going out, and try and have a budget of some sort. I've always been so bad with taxes and like budgeting and all this.
It's not it's not an exciting part of life for a lot of people. So
no.
I understand.
But I was talking with the main guy from Kitbash 3D, Banks.
Right.
And we were talking about taxes, and like he said the best business decision you could ever make, the best business decision anyone could ever make for themselves, is to get a grip on your finances and your taxes. That's the best thing you could ever do. And I was like, God, that's so true. So I got a shout out, man. This is not a paid ad, but Copilot. This app, Copilot. It's so good. It tracks all your expenses. You like categorize all your expenses, and it's all auto. You plug in your bank accounts, you plug in your cards, and it basically auto, like with AI, can AI categorize all these expenses, and at the end of the year when it comes to tax time, like you just export the CSV file for your business card, right? Because that's all your write-offs.
Yeah.
Boom, that's your taxes right there. Those are your write-offs. The income is easy, and then, or not easy, but it's easy to track.
Yes.
And it gives you like an overview of your month as you go through your month, like where you're at in your budget that you set for yourself. Yeah. And it's so satisfying because it's all colorful and there's little emoji things. Oh, it's the best. So that's been my like most recent thing. Yeah.
Did you know about Copilot?
No, I'm using another software.
Mint.
Turn it in. Yeah, not that sexy as the software.
Not with
that
emojis
no,
and colors?
not with emojis. I'm still using Excel, but yeah, probably need to check that out. Yeah. There was one question that I had, because throughout your journey, when did you choose the name Pwnisher for yourself?
Oh,
Where
God.
did that came from? Yeah.
This was like, this was back in high school,
Wow.
9th grade. Me and my friends, we're all gamers, and there's this show. It was a web series. I think it was like, dare I say, the first web series. I don't know. It's the first one I ever seen. It's called Pure Ownage, and it follows these like socially awkward gamers. And there's this character, FPS Doug, and he's actually a good buddy of mine, Joel, at this point now, which is crazy because like I was so obsessed with that show. And he was the guy who's like behind his computer. He's like, boom, headshot, boom, headshot. And then he like gets killed and like has like a moment. He's like, and he just goes, he starts raging and like smashing his keyboard. And I was like, dude, I feel so bad for this guy. Because I thought it was all real. Like the whole first season, I just thought it was all real. I thought everyone was for real. And everyone, like the main guy, his name was the ownerer, the pwnerer. Mm-hmm. It's like, to pwn someone in a game, right?
Yes, yeah.
And like, so we I don't know, me and my friends, we just all would wrestle after school in his like living room, and just for fun, to be stupid. And we all had these like pwn based names. So there's the Grandmaster Pwn, the Pwnerer, and then I was the Pwnisher. So that's how that came.
Wow! And you kept it for how many years? Oh my god, I was
stick.
Yeah,
his name's Stick.
But no one knows how to pronounce it, so it's like annoying because like I don't know how to pronounce that. What is that? I try and tell people like, oh, what's your YouTube channel? I'm like, it's the Pwnisher, and they're like, what? And I'm like, the Punisher, the superhero, and it's like instead of a U, it's a W, and they're like, I still don't get it. I'm like,
All right, so I have to ask because again, we see a lot of work from you, but what is the Pwnisher's dream and goal? The ultimate dream and goal?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's to... there's probably a few of those, but I think to... Whether it's a movie or a show or just to be creative, I think the idea right now is to make movies with friends and family. That's it. Take on big challenges, big creative challenges together with friends and family. That sounds like the best time.
Are we talking about YouTube, or are we talking about like a feature film that you want to send it to festivals, or are we? Do you have something in your mind that I want to make a live action or a fully CG, or like is it on Unreal, or because you've done so many things and.
So I think as a kid it's always been I want to make a movie, and that's still with me. I still want to do that. And it's just so difficult. It requires so much from so many people, but it's very possible. It's very, very possible. So yeah, live action movie, an action comedy of some sort, right? That's the like forward goal right now. And yeah, sure. If it's in theaters, great. If it's on streaming, great. If it's on my YouTube, great. Whatever. I just want to make it. I just want to do it, right? And the YouTube channel, obviously, I'm not going to like ditch the YouTube channel when that's happening or to make that happen. So I'm trying to build a channel and build a team to the point where like it can run on its own if I step away. And also, I would love to document the whole process of making a movie and show people like, hey, whether the movie's good or bad, here's how it went down. and here's all the stuff that went into it. And if you want to make a movie of your own, watch these videos, kind of a thing, you know?
Wow, that would be so interesting to watch. Watch the movies, watch the whole behind the scene. I mean, it would be like multiple behind the scenes, right? Imagine
like-
you walk us through every single step that's
of how it was made.
Yeah.
Like detailed behind the scenes in like in vlog format, would you do it? Or would you do it like proper if you were to like cinematic behind the scenes?
No, it'd be personal.
Okay.
It'd be personal.
Okay.
So, yeah. Whatever that would be, you know.
Have
So
you
I would just want to connect.
if you don't mind me asking, have you already started on the concept or you haven't? You have already.
Yeah.
Okay.
for sure.
So it's in the works. When we'll find out at some point when it's happening.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, super
Exactly.
excited,
Dude.
man. Yeah, that's going to be amazing.
Can't wait, dude. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much because this has been so great finding out everything about your journey and, understanding more about the behind the scenes of how the competition runs, especially for a lot of people who've joined them. I think it's quite interesting. They've seen your videos, they've seen the interviews, post competition, but also hearing you talk about some of the difficulties for you to run these competitions is quite frankly awesome to hear. February, that's happening. So for everybody who wants to participate, do you have a date for the release of the announcement?
It'd probably be like it's like the Saturday closest to February 1st. So
Okay.
whenever that is, I don't know. Here, let's look at a calendar. February 1st is a Thursday. So maybe it's February 3rd is when the announcement video drops. And then go from there or something. Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking is because people need to clear up the schedules. Knowing from now, clear up your schedules, get yourself ready. And if you need to learn Unreal or Cinema 4D or whatever, you got tutorials on Pwnisher's channel. You know where to go. Do you have any upcoming videos that we should look forward to on the channel? Tutorials or breakdowns?
Breakdowns, please.
So I let's see, do I have any breakdowns planned? I have like a handful. I always got like a handful of videos. I want to do one on like the difference between like what 20 minutes will get you, like the speedrun version of a piece of art versus what 2 hours will get you, like and the differences between those. But right now I'm just working on some passion projects that are more like the final piece is the piece of art, and then if there's a breakdown on it later, like there maybe. But yeah, so that's like a handful of projects on that side that are just like slow burn, takes a long time to get done, kind of a thing. So one of them is based off a trip me and my wife took to Japan earlier this year, where I'm like using Legos and shots around Japan together, and then some music video type stuff with some different artists and whatnot, because I love music, man. I really do. So yeah, I want to do more music video stuff, experimental stuff, and have fun.
Yeah, you always have someone composing the music for the competitions. Have you ever have you done any part of it yourself, or are you planning to for the future competitions?
No, no, not now. I think for now, music is my like no stakes hobby,
Right.
And I'm like being very careful about it. Maybe
Don't mix
one
it
day.
with work.
Oh, you don't want to
don't mix it with work.
okay, all right,
I don't want to touch music.
Don't
from
bring
work.
it into Sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to push.
Because
No.
if me and Faraz know something, like imagine if Faraz knows tomorrow how to do thumbnails, Faraz, you're going to do the thumbnails, you're going to do the edit. I mean, we are all doing it now ourselves. So the moment someone knows something, we are bringing it in.
Yeah, but I also understand why you don't want to push it at all, because you just want to let that happen on its own, and that's sort of, I believe it's one of those things that you enjoy doing when you're not working. And it's the time that you pass by and you get to creatively think outside work. So I understand why that is. And so, yeah, I think you're doing it exactly the right way. I'm just looking forward to see what you're going to create. Have you shared anything online about anything you've done, or is that going to be at all?
In terms of future stuff?
Yes, like in terms of the music, because I'm just curious. I really want to know.
Now we are curious about music.
Yeah.
So I don't post it, but I will tell people I have a SoundCloud, and I think it's just Pwnisher,
Okay.
and it's just go and look. See what
Okay.
kind of
Oh
music it
yeah,
is.
definitely.
It's really low key. It's the lowest key. Kind of
Maybe
music.
not after
So-
this
Not
podcast. Not anymore.
No, I'm just kidding.
But one more thing, when you said you are doing music videos, are you directing the music videos, or are you doing the music for music videos, or
The visual side. Yeah, the visual,
visual
side.
side? And CG, all CG, right?
At least for now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The two music-based projects. One is like full CG, and the other is like CG in a sense, but a little bit different. And yeah, you'll see when it comes out. I mean,
Okay.
I'm really excited for it. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's it's good playtime.
You did one Unreal Engine video about the club, and then you basically it was
Oh.
like a GTA looking club, and then
Yeah.
you had your Rococo suit on, you were dancing. You said you recorded
Yeah.
multiple dances. That video
Yeah.
looked kind of weird if you doing this, but
Yeah.
I imagine why you had to do that for all those different dances you had to record. That was a really dope video, and I also wanted to let you know, please keep the breakdowns. Those videos that you do are so relaxing to watch, especially you got like a calm voice, calm music, and then you're talking
Sweet.
about the process of what you work on, which is really helpful because sometimes you don't want a super detailed tutorial. All you want to know is the workflow, and that's all you need to actually go and do it yourself, because you'll be more free to create it within your own sort of process rather than just following step by step. So keep those
Yeah.
going, man. We love watching those.
Awesome. Yeah, will do. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, Farah, you good?
I just want to thank Clint for all the advice that he shared, especially for the part that, burning out. How did you manage your time? I think those lessons are really, really valuable. Especially a lot of people can use that. I think we can use that to really thank you for opening up and telling us all those stories that you had.
Oh, absolutely. This was really fun, guys. Thank you so much. And I look forward to chatting with you guys in the future and hanging out and seeing what you guys do. So thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, for everybody watching and listening as well, you know what's up. We'll see you guys next week once again. Until then, ciao.
Ciao.